Hello friends, welcome to Ielts. In this video, we'll talk about Ielts listening exam pattern. I think there are many people who are familiar in Ielts listening tests, like who have done hundreds of listening tests on YouTube or on any other websites or portals. But the problem is they don't even know the exam pattern yet. They know we have 30 minutes to cover 40 answers and we have to mark each single question mentioned in the video. But in this video, I will tell you more about the exam pattern. We'll talk about the sections in the Ielts listening test. If you can memorize these sections, so your mind will be ready for the next set of questions or for the next audio that you will listen during your exam. That being said, let's begin the video. So here, we know, first we'll talk about the exam types. I think everybody is aware of the paper-based exam, which is most common and the earliest one that was started long back years ago. Now recently they have introduced computer-based Ielts exam. I'm not sure, but it is not like in all the countries, but yeah, it's available in India, in Canada, in Australia, and many other countries. But yeah, you won't find computerized Ielts exam in many locations. Now they are introducing in all the available cities, in the major cities of the country. But yeah, still, there are few exam centers which provide computer-based Ielts exam. So before we go and we talk about the exam pattern, here I'll tell you something about the difference between Ielts paper-based exam or computerized Ielts exam. I'm talking about listening part only. The time limit 30 minutes will be as is. There is no change in the time limit. Number of questions will be as is. Even the question paper will be same for Ielts listening computerized or for paper based, same. 30, 40 minutes. Right. The paper based exam, the difference which you will find, the only difference is in your paper based exam, you will have your answer sheet in your hand and you have to transfer, you're supposed to transfer your answers to your answer sheet in the last 30 minutes. So basically you will have 30 minutes transfer time to transfer your answers to your answer sheet. But when we talk about computerized or computer-based Ielts exam, you won't have transfer time, you won't have 10 minutes. Instead of this, what you will have is, you will have review time, that too just only 2 minutes. So after completing your 30 minutes or at the end of the 40 questions, you will have 2 minutes to go and check your answers. You can modify, you can correct your spellings in the last 2 minutes. So the only drawback is here in the paper-based exam you get 10 minutes, but in the computer-based exam you have only 2 minutes. But the good part, say for example in computer-based exam, if you miss to transfer your answer, like if you are not able to transfer all your answers in the last 10 minutes, or for example, say you have transferred, you put your answer in the wrong, say for example you put the answer of question number 10 into the answer box of question number 11, then it's gonna be wrong. So there is a fair chance there are like huge amount of people or students who does or that did like this. They put their correct answers into the wrong answer box. It's all in vain. But in case of computer-based Ielts exam, there is no way to transfer your answers. Your answers will be automatically saved. As soon as you will type, your answers will be saved in the system. So there is no chance for you to make any mistake. And after completing 30 minutes, you will have additional 2 minutes to review your answer. Say for example, you want to correct, you can go through and you can correct your spellings. You want to modify your spellings or something like that. So you can review your answer in the last 2 minutes. Okay. Yeah, here the one more important thing about computer-based IELTS exam, if you are really good, or if you use computer day to day on a daily work, then I would suggest go for the computer-based IELTS exam, because your writing test will be on computer as well. If your typing is not good, it's gonna be hard for you. That's my personal advice, my personal suggestion. If you do your day-to-day work, or if you use computer regularly, it's better to go for the computerized IELTS exam. Okay. Now let's talk about the exam pattern or the exam format. Here, my suggestion is just memorize this IELTS exam format. Your mind should be ready to listen. You should know in advance what will happen in the next section, what that section will be all about. Okay. So basically, I think you guys are aware of, there will be 4 recordings, and each recording will have 10 questions. Right? But yeah, those recordings can be in multiple sections, sometimes in 2 sections, 1 section. So, but yeah, most of the recordings will be in 2 sections. There will be 4 recordings, and those 4 recordings each will be in 2 sections. Okay. So there will be monologues. There will be a conversation monologue. You can select. There will be one audio, one speaker. He will just give a speech. He will talk about, and you just need to write your answer. Dialogue. There are like 2 or more people are talking to each other. That's a dialogue or a conversation. You can call that. So your speech and monologue is the same thing. There will be a single person who will speech, who will say something, and you have to write your answers. And dialogue or a conversation is the same thing. Like there will be 2 or more people talking to each other. Right? Now what you have to remember is like, there will be four sections, section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. Now, first of all, you should be aware, like section 1, section 1 is going to be, there will be a conversation, there will be 2 people talking to each other. You should also know about the context, in what context they will talk about. So section 1 and section 2 will have a social context. Social in the sense, a day-to-day life, general life topic. It could be a hotel reservation, like you are going to book a room reservation in a hotel, or to get the details about the flight at the airport, or maybe some like students, he is registering himself to a library. So section 1 and section 2 will talk about social context, day-to-day life, everyday life, nothing abnormal. Okay. Section 3 and 4 will talk about educational or training programs or academics, university courses. Right. So you should clearly understand these 2 contexts. Section 1 or 2, social, daily life, over. Section 3 and 4 is going to be educational, academics. They will talk about college, students, education, courses. Both section 3 and 4. Now, let's talk about section 1. Section 1 is going to be a conversation or a dialogue. Conversation means like there are 2 people. Dialogue, there are 2 people. So in part 1, there will be only 2 in the section 1 of your listening test. There will be a conversation between 2 people only. Always there will be 2 people only, not more than that. Only 2 people. That's it. So for example, there may be a person who is inquiring about some flight details or a hotel reservation or some other services. Right? Section 1 is a conversation. So you should be ready when you start your test, right? Your mind should be ready to listen to 2 people. Yeah, my audio or my test will begin with the conversation of 2 people only. Right? Next, section 2 is going to be a monologue. Monologue, simple. There will be a one speaker giving a speech, or like, it's again going to be a social context. There will be a one person who will talk about, say something, and then you have to mark your answers. Right? So section 2 is going to be easy. There will be only one person, and then he will talk about, you will keep on marking your answers. That's it. Section 2 is the easiest one. Now, section 3. Section 3 involves a conversation between a group of people. So here in section 3 you will always have 2 or more. There are fair chances that you may have 3 people involved, mostly like there are like 2 students and they are talking to you that their professor. It's like most common scenario in part section 3 of your IELTS listening. There will be 2 students and then they will talk about, there will be a professor or a university lecturer. Because like section 3 and 4, as I said earlier, section 3 and 4 is about educational, about university or college courses, right? So in section 3 there will be a conversation, 2 or 3 people will be involved. Generally it's gonna be 3 people, 2 students and 1 tutor or a lecturer. So now section 3 is going to be a little bit complex because here you have to pay attention to each one, like who is the first person, who is second person and who is the professor. So just by hearing the tone you should be able to identify who is that person who is talking right now, right? So it's a little bit complex, but yeah, if you will do some practice you will come to know, yeah, there is a person A, now person B is talking, now professor is talking. So just by hearing the tone you have to identify who is the person, because sometimes there are 2 people or there are 3 persons. Say for example the lecturer or the professor who is there, who can ask about, okay, how do you feel about your project, how was your experience? Then there can be a question like, say for example there is a John, Mary and a professor. Now the professor is asking, how is your experience, John or Mary? Now first John may share his experience and then Mary may share his experience, her experience, sorry. Now so you should be able to identify who is John and who is Mary and who is speaking first. It's John or it's Mary. Then only you would be able to mark your answer. Correct? Now let's move forward. Section 4. Section 4 is very simple. Section 4 is going to be a monologue. There will be a 1 person, there will be a 1 speaker and he will give a talk on an academic lecture. It may be a history, it may be some scientific invention. It could be anything, but yeah, it is going to be related with the technology, with the academics, the education purposes. Right? But the only thing in section 4 is gonna be fast. The speaker will talk about so many things and it will be keep going. The speaker will move fast and forward. Right? So section 4 can be easy for you. You just need to pay attention to the details. Like whatever the speaker says, you keep your mind open. Your ear should be open. Your mind should be ready to fetch, to get all the information given by the speaker. This way you would be able to complete your section 4 easily. Again, I am summarizing my stuff. Section 1, section 2, there will be a day-to-day life conversation. Section 3, section 4, academic or educational context. Section 1 will have a conversation, 2 people, always not more than 2. Section 2, monologue, single speaker. Section 3 usually have 3 people, 2 students and 1 professor. Section 4, 1 speaker, and that speaker will talk about an academic topic, on educational topic. Now here more about computer based exam. I think I have already explained. Your answers will be set automatically. It's good if you use computer regularly. The good part is that there won't be any disturbance. You will have a 1 cubicle, so you can completely focus you can pay your attention to your exam. There won't be any disturbance. And yeah, good part of IELTS listening test is like there will be a countdown which will remind you about the remaining time. So, and yeah, you will get your results soon. There are people who really want their results soon, so it's good for them. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for the video.